reflections on behalf of the family. Travis?
Charles Gary Hoffman was the son of Eva Lois and Charles Hoffman. He was the oldest of 4 children, 1 sister and 2 brothers. He was raised in Fort Worth, where he graduated from Eastern Hills High School, and that was in 1961. And there, he met his high school sweetheart, the love of his life, Linda Diane Lawrence. He worked in his dad's cabinet shop for about 4 years, and then he decided to open his own cabinet shop, and that was in about August of 1967. Hank's first son, John David, was born that same month, that same year, and his second son, Robert X., he was born in 1970, same year I was born. In 1974, Hank and Linda moved their family from Fort Worth to Arlington, and there they lived for 21 years. And then after their sons married, Hank and Linda moved to Mansfield in 2001. Hank and Linda were married for 41 years. And that is just a testament of their love, their commitment, their friendship, and really their laughter together. You know, it seems fitting that the master of nicknames himself was practically nicknamed at birth, and so Charles Gary Hoffman was known to pretty much everyone here just simply as good old Hank. And Hank pretty much made it his personal ambition to nickname just about everyone he met. And so we're going to take a little time and go over some of the nicknames he came up with. I'm sure some of you are here today. And now, no matter how uncouth the nickname might have been, remember, it was really just an honor that he even took the time to do it. Rico Ratso, Reek, Old Cricket Legs, Buster, Pee-wee, Toonie, Funis J. Tunis. There's Fat Man, Rodent, Zork, Elmer Fudd, Hornay, Bo Art Fay, Catfish, Hans, Satch, Bigfoot, and a banana, Plug, the Hare, Marky Baby, Uncle Tuffy, Shorty, Murr, Harpo, Chip, Beaker, JW, Leg, Scooter, Grammy, Wire, Crash, Pencil, Spaceman, Big Fish, Hedgehog, Porky, Rambo, Hot Pants, T-Bone, Chuck E. Cheese, Fern, and Linda Bird, Mert, Linda Lou, and Babe. And to say that Hank loved life really would be just an understatement. Like he said, he was an avid hunter, a fisherman, a photographer. He loved cars, and he loved fast cars. And he really loved that old 56 Chevy Hot Rod. And actually, Robert X. and John David's friends still to this day talk about when they were kids getting in that old car with Hank, and you know, Hank would get up there on the steering wheel, and they'd be all kind of lined up in those big old seats, and Hank get down the road just a little bit, slow down a hair, you know, kind of get that sly grin, that little chuckle, and just gas it, and they just love it. They would just love it. And of course, we know that Hank liked to tease everyone he met. There's this one story that years later, after he graduated from high school, he saw one of his old high school buddies at the mall, and he was shopping. He was shopping with his wife, and she was very, very pregnant at the time, and she was very, very shy, which is Hank's perfect target. So anyway, so they said their goodbyes and reminisced a little bit, and Hank he said he gets all the way over sort of to the glass door, and he's like, "Why, that old girl's stealing a basketball?" But really what's important, that Hank really always wanted to help people. And there are countless people here today, I know, who can say that Hank was like a dad to them. He took kids under his wings. He loved them like his own. He taught kids how to catfish. He taught kids how to hunt. And he taught kids how to be respectful and to work hard to achieve their goals. He went to their sporting events, and he always encouraged them, always, just no matter what their interests were. Hank had many callings in his life, and he met them all. And probably the first, probably the most profound to a lot of people, was that Hank helped to raise his younger brothers and his sister when their father left at an early age. They were just children. And to Rabbit and to John and to Suzanne, he was more than a brother. Just ask him. He was a mentor, he was a father figure, and he was a best friend. And to his mother, I'm sure that he was just a blessing in those times. And then another calling Hank had, one that has touched us all, was just to make people laugh. There are countless stories, and I will tell you a few. And remember that no matter what the humor was, Hank was just having his own little innocent fun. One of the first stories is on occasion he was eating dinner with some friends at this real nice restaurant in Dallas, and he's just kind of sitting there at the table doing that Hank thing, kind of observing everything that's going on. And there's some young, nice-looking girl. I guess she had gotten up from her table, and she's kind of walking by, kind of wiping the crumbs off her shirt. It just took Hank just about a minute to kind of glare up and go, well, here, use this. Just innocent fun, that's all. Just Hank. As we all know, Hank was, hard of hearing. He had hearing aids, but he always took them out because they bothered him. He just couldn't stand them. In fact, he would always tell people, you know why, with these old hearing aids, I can hear a grasshopper toot. But it sounds like a lion's roar. And of course, this actually probably is why he was very upset when I think one time Pepper actually ate his hearing aid because he thought it was cashews or something like that. And he did. He loved his dogs. And he'd even use them as, props for his own little special fun. Every Halloween, he would take Pepper out walking on a leash down the street, and Hank would wear some dark sunglasses and take his old cane out there, and he'd act like he was blind for all the kids. And in fact, he'd make all the kids, when they come to the door to trick or treat, he'd make them all pet Pepper before he'd give them any candy. One last really funny story here is, and it's legendary in our family. I was actually called when we were in L.A. and told this story, probably moments after it happened. One night, I guess Hank and Linda were going out to dinner, and Hank was shaving, getting ready to go, and Linda had, she just put a little pill out on his vanity for him, and she had said something. Of course, Hank really didn't hear what she said, because he didn't have his hearing aid in. So anyway, I guess later on they're kind of driving to the restaurant, and Linda kind of pops in her head, and Linda says, well, now, Hank, did you give Patches her pill? And Hank's sort of like, what pill? And, and Linda's just frustrated with the hearing. He's like, well, Hank, the pill I put on your vanity for you to give her. And Hank, the heartworm pill. Hank goes, heartworm? I thought you said heartburn. So anyway, they rush back after calling the doctor. The doctor says, Hank, you're going to be fine. It'll be all right. But, Hank, this is just a perfect opportunity. So for days and days and days, he embarrassed everybody by telling them that the pill caused him to look for bones in the backyard, chase cars down the street, hike his leg, and drag his rear end across the floor. If you take a minute and you close your eyes and you picture Hank, what do you see? Most likely, he is smiling and he is laughing or he's getting ready to make someone else smile and laugh. Hank loved to make people laugh. It was his natural gift. It was his talent. His stories were long and animated, and, just kind of watching them tell him, get the LYs widening up, get the little hop step going, and, well, it was just about as funnier than the story itself. Though small in stature, Hank was just huge in spirit. He made an impression on each and every person that he ever met. Most of us won't leave this life with the legacy of being genuinely liked by everyone we came in contact with, but I'm telling you, Hank did. Other than fishing and hunting and cars, Hank took a lot of pleasure in his life in seeing the people in church and witnessing others accepting Christ into their hearts and lives. As much as Hank loved his earthly life, he had a special passion for his personal relationship with Christ and his wanting others to experience that same relationship, that same joy he carried around with him on a day-to-day basis in their own lives. Another great gift in Hank's life was knowing that his two sons had accepted Jesus Christ as their Savior, and that they were continuing to grow in their faith, and that they were providing a spiritual foundation for their families. That was dear to him. My Uncle Hank also got to witness all 5 of his grandkids born. That's really something else, too. He took so much time to be with them, and he enjoyed every minute of it. Hank lived his life as a faithful husband and a dedicated father and a committed servant of God. In Revelation 21, it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Now the dwelling of God is with men, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things have passed.' He who was seated at the throne said, 'I'm making everything new.' And then he said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.' He said to me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To him who is thirsty, I will give drink without cost from the spring of the water of life. He who overcomes all will inherit all this. And I will be his God, and he will be my son.'" On one final note, we were all over at the house today getting ready to come over here, and everyone's kind of sitting around, and Eva Lois was sitting there in her chair, and she was just going, "Oh, I'm just so disappointed that today's such a gloomy day, just a little rainy and gloomy and cloudy. I'm just disappointed." And John sort of nodded his head like he does, and he kind of said, "Well, yes, Mother, but it's perfect hunting weather."
Thank you, Travis. The greatest encouragement